The first time Kelly ran into my classroom, I was worried. Being a third grader, the tools that she had to navigate the violence and protect herself was to run. That baby ran out of the classroom, and it just so happened that she lucked up and she ran into mine. I felt obligated to Kelly as a Black woman because Kelly's identity as a Black girl is one that makes her a victim of violence. Kelly had a negative relationship with 3 white boys, her classmates. They would make fun of her, they would physically assault her. The violence that is enacted on Black bodies is one that is dependent on maintaining the status quo of violence towards and darkened peoples, particularly for young Black girls. The idea is to provide a schooling experience that socializes them to prepare for a relationship of subordination. And so Kelly's response to the violence she was experiencing was to run. When she ran into my classroom, my first thought was to get her to a point of feeling safe and not this thing of, what has she done wrong now? I really wanted to make sure that we took the time to implement restorative justice practices to support Kelly. I am a restorative justice practitioner, a womanist circle keeper. My work is facilitating restorative justice circles and using restorative justice to help communities build relationships and resolve conflict. Restorative justice circles are a space where people can come together on equal ground. One of the Afro-Indigenous restorative justice principles that I introduced to people early on is Ubuntu, which is I am because we are. And understanding that even if we're talking about relationship building where no harm has happened, we know that there is a nucleus or a foundation to how those relationships are formed. And so we know that these instances of harm don't just pop up out of nowhere. They're born out of a policy or a social practice. After she came into my classroom, I asked Kelly the question that all restorative justice practitioners are trained to ask first, which is, what happened? And I let Kelly tell me the story. Not only was she experiencing the physical violence from her classmates, but at the core of her being silenced and oftentimes disciplined by the adults in the building was this belief around how Black girls know more and need less nurturing or comfort. I really wanted to make sure that the adults in the school community who were involved closely with Kelly's experiences with her classmates had the opportunity to be in a restorative justice circle process, thinking about their experiences with being the bully or being bullied. The focus of the conversation was not solely about if Kelly was right or wrong, but one about reminding the adults that we have all been third graders before. We really wanted to emphasize how the adults' behavior sent a message to the boys that it was okay for them to behave the way they did towards Kelly, but also that their behavior sent a message to Kelly, which was, you do not have a right to learn in a safe environment. The ringleader of the boys, he actually himself did not want to be a part of the process. The other 3 boys who were involved, I met with them and used what we call restorative questions. I was not surprised, but what warmed my heart was to find that they actually liked Kelly. They were just following behind their friend. They wanted to be liked and they wanted to be accepted by him. It gave me a sense of hope because they already had in their minds what they wanted to say to Kelly, and they already had an understanding of Kelly's experience on the other side of it, and they were eager to make things right with her, not because they didn't want to be in trouble, that wasn't the point, but because they had then a clear understanding of the harm she was experiencing. Throughout that restorative justice process, Kelly was able to see that she does not have to suffer in silence and that there are people in the world who can see exactly what she experienced and will work with her to disrupt those practices. I've seen the school community use the restorative tools that we worked on to see conflict as generative and be able to understand Kelly's story as part of their catalyst to really take a look at the ways that they negotiate the violence that the Black children and the families were experiencing in the school community. Kelly just finished her freshman year of high school. She is still quiet, but still has a very booming and bold personality and still kind and still brilliant and still has that strong sense of justice. Kellys, they make the world a better place. To the millions of Kellys out there, keep running, keep being disruptive. You have every right to learn. You have every right to be safe. You are not wrong, Kelly. Wrong is not your name.